Hello guys and welcome to my new video. So today I decided to do a video about Mythic Plus and possible Mythic Plus changes in BfA, Battle for Azeroth, and how Blizzard might approach fixing few issues that are existing with Mythic Plus system, or maybe implementing new things, changing things around. So this is basically a speculation video, but in the last couple of weeks there's been like a few things data mined about Mythic Plus. There's been items data mined that will let you choose the level of Mythic Plus, that will let you choose the dungeon, and that would also let you choose the affixes. Now these items are possibly there for testing, maybe they're there for the tournaments that are coming ahead in the next couple of weeks, so nothing's really known. But basically from these early posts, it made me kind of stop and think about what is great about Mythic Plus, what could be changed, what changes do I want to see in Battle for Azeroth, and things like that. So first of all, I feel Mythic Plus is a really good implementation. I feel Mythic Plus is one of those things that made the expansion really great, because in previous expansions, after you do a raid or whatever, there was really nothing that, like, there wasn't that much stuff to do outside of raiding, and now Mythic Plus kind of, you know, fill in that gap. And Blizzard likes that, players like that, because, you know, you spend more time playing the game, so why not? But I feel there's a couple of things that straight away are, well, should be fixed. First of all, lowering your keys. Or if you have a level 24 key and you decide to just, like, you know, just do a 15 in time, and you need to lower from 24 to 15, you have to go into a dungeon, you have to start the dungeon, you have to wait for the 10 whatever seconds before the dungeon counts down, you have to exit the dungeon, you have to reset the dungeon, and you have to do that multiple times to actually lower your key. Straight away, this is the big issue. Well, it's not a big issue, but it's like something that should be fixed and should be simplified. Something like, I don't know, something similar to what maybe in Diablo, maybe what they have in Diablo, where you can just lower your key in some kind of a hub, or some NPC does it for you. Should be there straight away. I'm actually surprised it's not there right now, because lowering your keys can be a nightmare, and a lot of people actually are not aware of the fact that you can lower your key without actually having to do a dungeon and fail the dungeon. So that's also kind of a, like, you know, oversight. Second of all, and this will probably affect a lot of people out there, if you get a week with bad affixes for your class, or affixes that you feel that are just really terrible, let's say for a healer, and you're like, I don't know, if you're Resto Shaman, like Grievous and things like that, like, there are certain affixes that don't fit certain classes, and if you get that for a whole week, a lot of players will be like, I'm just not even stepping into Mythic Plus because it's going to be painful, it's not going to be fun for me, I don't want to do it, so I'm just gonna do that 15, you know, weekly chest and just gonna leave it. Like, this is straight away, again, an oversight, because Blizzard wants you to play the game, Blizzard wants you to enjoy your class, Blizzard, I presume, does not want you to feel left out because of affixes that happen for the whole week, and you'll be like, I don't even want to play the game anymore because I do Mythic Plus for a lot of my time, but I hate these affixes so much. So there should be something done about the whole concept of affixes locking you out of dungeons for a whole week, and that's a long time. That's a long time to actually log into a game and then realize I don't want to play it because of something random or something that's already predefined. So I feel that should be somewhat changed. The third thing that I feel is really important, Mythic Plus scores. So over the time of Legion, over the time of, like, Mythic Plus implementation, people were, you know, trying to find ways of how to filter out the people who might not be that great, might be new, and to filter out people who do Mythic Plus really often. And the whole Mythic Plus score came about. You had WoW Progress, everyone started using WoW Progress. WoW Progress had a way of calculating it. Then Radar.io came about, and everyone's now using Radar.io scores. And both of these are, like, they're using the same kind of system. It takes the best key, each of the dungeons. For each of the dungeons in Legion, it will take your best key, and then it'll come up with a score. It'll give you a better score if you maybe completed it in time. Like, even a lower key that's completed in time might give you a better score than a higher key that was not completed in time. So you have all these different calculations. I feel there's an oversight here happening. As in, for example, if you're a new player or whatever, like let's say you were looking for a 20 Dark Heart ticket. You're a professional Dark Heart ticket player. You've done Dark Heart ticket 21, 22. You've done it like 20 times. And then you apply to a group to do Dark Heart ticket like 19. But your Mythic Plus score is terrible because Mythic Plus score takes into account every dungeon. So maybe you haven't even attempted Seed of Triumvirate. Maybe you haven't even attempted Cathedral. You have no interest in those dungeons. But you've done Dark Heart tickets so many times, but the person will look at you, will look at your score, and your score is really low, because like I mentioned, the other websites calculate the total score of all of the dungeons, and you'll be there feeling left out. You'll be like, what? I've done Dark Heart ticket 20 times. I am a professional Dark Heart ticket player. I love this dungeon. I like the affixes. I want to do it, but I will never get invited because my Mythic Plus score is, is not good enough. So I feel that there is a lot of improvement for these kind of websites. I feel that they're doing a decent job at they fill in the gap, and a lot of people might hate it the way they do it. They might hate it because in order to get high Mythic Plus score, you need to do high dungeons. To get invited into high dungeons, you need to have a high Mythic Plus score. So it's like, rat and mouse kind of cat and mouse kind of game going on here. So a lot of people might hate it, a lot of people might like it. I feel it does serve a purpose. Like at the end of the day, statistically speaking, you will probably have a better run with someone who has a higher score than someone who has a lower score. But at the same time, I also see the predicament that the people with the lower scores have themselves in. Like they're not sure how to get higher keys without, getting invited into higher dungeons. I'm not sure how this could be solved. Maybe Blizzard could actually come up with a certain system. I'm not sure. But this is another problem that I see. So let's move on to how we could possibly fix this. So first of all, let's look at choosing your affixes for the week. Because these items with datamined and BfA, I don't think choosing your affixes will ever get implemented. Because if you get to choose which affix you do, everyone will just do things like Sanguine, Volcanic, and Fortified for the whole week, the next week, the week after that, the week after that. Like, it'll be just Sanguine, Volcanic, and Fortified. People will just choose the easiest one. And you might be like, okay, that's the easiest one, I just want to do it, get the loot. But at the end of the day, you'll get burned out. You'll be doing the same content over and over. Variety can be good even if you might not like it. Variety can be good and help you from burning out of dungeons, out of Mythic Plus. So I don't feel Blizzard will ever let you choose every affix that you will get from week in, week out. But how could they prevent people from hating affixes for a certain week? I feel maybe like an option of like reforging an affix, like a single affix. Let's say you have like a Grievous and Sanguine or something like that, and you don't want Grievous, and you have an option of reforging that Grievous into something else, into a different combination. Now, Blizzard will make sure that not every combination is available there, because there's a new affix, like for example, there's a new affix called Blight, which kind of encourages you to keep people at low HP. What if you get Blight and Grievous kind of encourages you to keep everyone fully topped up? Like, that kind of combination is just really bad. So Blizzard will have a certain table of affixes that cannot be combined together, which makes sense because they're kind of doing that right now anyways. Every time you get an affix every week, they're kind of looking at certain possibilities of not giving like insanely bad combinations. But maybe reforging a certain affix could be a really cool option. Maybe you don't like certain affix, and maybe you don't like explosive. Maybe you don't want to deal with orbs as a certain DPS class, and you just kind of like, you can change that. Maybe actually even players getting random keys each week. Like, let's say it's a fortified week and people are getting a different combination of fortified affixes. Like they get fortified like with explosive or fortified with Grievous, and having a different options. So you don't get burned out from doing the same key, and you don't feel trapped by having the same combination. It is an option. I feel it's not a bad option to do it, because like I said, Blizzard will never let you choose the exact affixes that you want, because people will tend to abuse that kind of power, and like I see that happening anyway. What are the big changes that I feel are going to happen Battle for Azeroth. First of all, I feel there's going to be a lot of changes happening to Mythic Plus. I feel Blizzard knows how powerful and how good Mythic Plus is for the game itself, but I see there's no reason to have like, why not add 4 affixes? Why not have the option of adding an additional affix? Why not having an option of like adding like 5 affixes for the crazy people who try to push really high keys or trying to get more difficulty? Like 4 affixes, 5 affixes, and they'll give you additional loot. Of course, there'll be an additional reward for more difficulty. You don't want to do something harder and not get anything out of it. So, and also as well, like, I mean, why does he always have to be fortified and or tyrannical? Why does he always have to be fortified or tyrannical? Why not change that around? Like they did this in Mythic Dungeon Invitational in the season 1. They changed around, like they removed fortified and they introduced like sanguine, and they had 3 different affixes. Like, why not have a weeks like that? Why not give it different variety? Like, I mean, it seems like a really easy thing to change. Blizzard already did this before. And I feel like it'll give you a different aspect of the game. It'll make you see the game in a different way, less burnout options. And my last suggestion would be bonus objectives for Mythic Plus. Why not add bonus objectives for Mythic Plus? Things like, to make a dungeon more interesting, things like if you don't use a single battle res in the dungeon, maybe you'll get an additional time, like plus 20 seconds, maybe plus 50 seconds, maybe plus an additional minute. Maybe you'll get more loot if you didn't use a single battle res. Maybe a boss will have a certain ability that will have a cast time. If you don't interrupt that cast time, the boss will start doing big massive AoE. But you will get additional time on top of your run. If you interrupt it, the boss won't do additional AoE, but you won't have that bonus objective. Like, bonus objectives have been a part of World of Warcraft for a very long time. I like the whole concept of what was happening in Ulduar, in the heroic, or in these days will be considered mythic. The way to actually activate the heroic version of a certain boss in Ulduar, you're thinking of things like Mimiron, where you actually have to press a red button during the fight. Like in the start of the fight, you have to press a red button and then the mythic starts. Like an additional ads come out. Why not have something like this like in Mythic Plus? Maybe there's going to be a boss that you can somehow activate additional ads. If those ads come about, and if you kill them in time or whatever, you'll get a buff to your group that increases your damage and healing by 5% for the next 10 minutes or something. So as a group, you'll be like, should we make this fight a bit more difficult, but we'll get a buff that will most likely will give us additional time, so it'll offset the time that it took us to kill those ads. So is it worth it? Like, I mean, there'll be kind of this debate, but it's really hard. At the same time, I can also see the obstacles. It is really hard to make bonus objectives rewarding, feel fair, and feel balanced. But I feel if they can be done really well, it'll be more additional content for Mythic Plus. It'll be giving you, like, right now people are just pushing the highest keys as possible, trying to cheese mechanics in ways that Blizzard does not expect, trying to cheese different bosses, trying to come up with tactics that are almost in a way considered cheating or exploits. Why doesn't Blizzard give an option for you to get these, like, you know, cheating things like getting a buff for killing ads, but for rewarding you for good gameplay instead of, like, you know, trying to find some kind of a hacks around it. I feel it could be a really good addition to Mythic Plus. So these have been my thoughts about Mythic Plus. These have been my thoughts about how Mythic Plus could be improved in Battle for Azeroth, how it could be improved even right now, how the Mythic Plus score works. Let me know how you feel about all this. Let me know if you like Mythic Plus. Let me know what kind of changes you want Mythic Plus to have in the future or even right now. I am really looking forward towards the comments and things like that. I'll try to answer most of them. And if you like the video, please do subscribe and like and all of that stuff. It really helps out the channel. And thank you for watching this guide. And I'll see you in my next video.